Assalamu alaikum, you're watching Healthwise and I'm Dr. Tahira Shahid. Previously, Ramzan meant a lot of iftar parties. When we went to our social media and we would see people posting pictures of weddings and gatherings and graduations, birthday parties, everything was all about happiness. But unfortunately, for the past 2 years now, the whole universe, the whole world seems to be engulfed with this pandemic, where everywhere you see is depression, death, disease, devastation and gloom. Especially the last 2 days have been very grim for us. Almost every time we open the social media or the media, there are several news items that just announce death of a loved one, disease, request for prayers, and it's really getting very grim. You must have heard what our PM announced yesterday in terms of newer restrictions. But for how long can restrictions last as well? Lockdowns cannot go on forever and ever, because even if we don't die of COVID or disease, we're going to die of an economic turmoil because everything is going to shut down. Today we thought we will invite into our studio an expert on this. So we have welcomed, and I welcome with great regard, Dr. Hassan Abbas Zahir, who was an ex-head of the Department for Safe Blood Transfusion in the Ministry of Health and is now actively involved in the vaccine procurement process. What exactly is vaccine? How important is it for us? What is the current trend that is, prevalent all across the world? Where are we heading to? These are very important topics, and that's why we thought we would discuss them today. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Zahir. And today we're going to just have a quick look at one report on the subject and then get back to you. So let's watch the report first.
To understand how COVID-19 virus work, it helps to first look at how our body fights against illnesses. When germs, such as the virus that causes COVID-19, invade our body, they attack and multiply. This invasion is called an infection, and infection is what causes illnesses. Our immune system uses several tools to fight infection. Blood contains red cells which carry oxygen to tissues and organs, and white or immune cells which fight infections. Different type of white blood cells fight infections in different ways. The first time a person is infected with the virus that causes COVID-19, it can take several days or weeks for the body to make and use all the germs fighting tools needed to get over the infection. After the infection, the person's immune system remembers what it learned about how to protect the body against the disease. The body keeps a few memory cells that go into action quickly if the body encounters the same virus again. When the familiar antigens are detected, the memory cell produce antibodies to attack them. Experts are still learning how long these memory cells protect a person against the virus that causes COVID-19. Different types of vaccines work in different ways to offer protection, but with all types of vaccines, the body is left with the supply of memory cells that will remember how to fight the viruses in the future.
Welcome back to the show. Coming back to Dr. Zahir, first things first. How grim is the situation? Because people are so scared, they're terrified. Is it really that bad, or are we just being told it's bad?
No, I'm afraid it is quite bad. It's very serious, especially in the neighboring country, India. Yeah. It's, in the last few days, it's getting bad to us, and we don't know where they're heading. It's actually very scary situation.
This is what we were really fearing all this while. The first wave, we were lucky enough, it didn't affect us as much, and we kept thinking, we have news where people are dying in Spain and Italy, and then there was the second wave, we were lucky in that as well, and that is why we kept thinking we are lucky again. And now this third wave seems to have taken it like really bad, and all the hospitals seem to be overloaded. But then the problem is that since 2 years, we are just following lockdowns in different parts of the world, and unfortunately, just lockdowns doesn't seem to be helping. For example, in Spain, in Italy, in Greece, in Brazil, in the US, in England, it just seems to be coming back. So this new variant that they're calling 117 or 1.1, whatever, can you tell us a little more about this new variant, the UK variant, the Brazil variant, now the India variant, which is much more transmissible?
Yes, you see, this is a virus which has a habit of constantly mutating itself. So the variants that we are talking about, these are the mutations of the original virus. And as long as this pandemic is going to be there, as long as the virus is going to be in the society, it will keep on mutating. So what we need to do is to get rid of the virus from the society, and until 5 months ago, till December 2020, the only option available was social distancing and lockdowns and precautions like that. But in December 2020, the vaccines which were being produced and developed on a very, very fast-track basis, they started getting emergency use approval, first in the West and gradually in other parts of the world also. And now there are about 6 vaccines which have got emergency use approval in different countries, and they are available for mass vaccinations.
So this is a very important point that you're mentioning, and people need to know that why it is important that this vaccine does not mutate. You know why there was a lot of stress on all the social distancing, the mask, and so that a person does not catch infection? It was not just because you would catch an infection and you would die of it. Not everybody dies of it, people recover as well. But it was because it is believed that the more it transmits from a person to a person, the more it starts multiplying, the more it mutates. So to curtail it, it's very important that there has to be, it should not pass on from a person to the person. And that is why vaccines came in the picture. And you were one of the pioneers in introducing the vaccine in Pakistan when we had an entire trial here that nobody knows about. And people should know that why vaccine is important, because there's so many conspiracy theories regarding vaccines. So first let's go on to the types of vaccines available. The Pfizer, Moderna, that were the mRNA vaccines. Then we have AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson and Sputnik, that are the viral vector vaccines. And we have the Chinese vaccines that held trial over here. And we have Sinopharm that is already being administered in the government setup, and CanSino Bio. So can you tell us a lot more about the trial that was conducted, where it was conducted, how it was conducted?
Yes, this was a very novel experience for a country like Pakistan, because this was the first time that phase 3 vaccine clinical trial was ever held in Pakistan. And this was a tripartite public-private partnership clinical trial. And the 3 partners involved were the CanSino, which is the developer of the manufacturer of this vaccine. And the second partner was the premier public health institute in Pakistan, the National Institute of Health of the Ministry of Health. And the third partner was a private sector firm, AGM Pharma, which is a reputable pharmaceutical firm in Pakistan. And these 3 partners got together and developed the plan to organize and implement the clinical trial of the CanSino vaccine.
So how many people received the vaccine in Pakistan back, like it was 5 months ago, I believe?
The trial is still ongoing, but we have completed the process of registration of the volunteers, and the total volunteer number for this trial in Pakistan was 18,500, and Pakistan was the first country where this global trial was initiated. And so it was the first time not only for Pakistan but also for CanSino Bio for this trial. And we are talking now about July 2020, when we started coordinating between us, the 3 partners, and we developed the protocols and SOPs and the guidelines for organizing this whole clinical trial.
And I believe there were no side effects, because people are monitored after they've administered this vaccine. And did you really get to monitor their antibody levels and see how it had reacted in them, if it was actually useful?
Yes, as I said, the trial is ongoing, and all this analysis, blood analysis and all the infection rates and the endpoint, all this is being assessed.
So when are we expecting CanSino Bio to be in the market? When is it going to be easily available to all of us?
Oh, that's a question, the answer to which I don't have, because we were doing the clinical trial with the intention of doing it successfully, after which we would have an option of procuring this vaccine from the Chinese company. And it's really up to the government to place an order for this vaccine, and also allow the private sector to do the same.
I'm
in
sure the
Pakistan.
government is playing its role, and we have the Chinese vaccines that are going to be most user-friendly for us, I believe, because they don't need to be stored at extremely low temperatures like the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine that is being used in the West. Also, the Pfizer and Moderna is pretty expensive for us, I believe, and we are not able to procure it. It requires extremes of temperature, and it uses mRNA technology. The other two viral vector vaccines, for example, the AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson, apparently had some kind of side effects. It was heard that they are causing clotting, and that's why they were withdrawn from markets in Europe and Canada. Is that true about those vaccines, viral vector adenovirus, using all that new technology and causing clotting? Is there any relevance?
It's not that simple.
Okay.
Let me try to explain it to you. There was something like 6 million doses administered and 7 cases of clotting
Alright.
reported. But, you know, maybe if these 6 million people had not received these vaccines, these 7 cases of clotting would have happened anyway.
Yeah,
So they
this
were
is very
probably
important because
random
COVID
event.
is causing clotting, right? And we hear it right, left,
No.
and center. No, isn't COVID itself raising the D dimer and
Yeah.
increasing? So that is what they could have possibly.
That's in the
suffered due to-
infected
yeah,
cases,
due-
but
right.
in the vaccinated cases, see, you have to establish a nexus between vaccination and the side effect.
Right.
If there is no nexus, then it means it is an unrelated side effect. So an unrelated side effect doesn't count.
So there is no side effect actually, right? And well, like
There are actually, but
Okay.
they are minor side
They're
effects.
no, those minor ones where you get a flu vaccine, for instance, and you have
Yes.
redness and fever and
Body
pain at the
aches
site
and-
and a little body ache for almost 2 days. Those are the usual ones, but you
Yes.
don't have any grave side effects like it's being propagated on media all the time.
No serious side effect. You know, in the 18,500 cases that we covered in Pakistan in the clinical trial, there was no single case of any serious side effect, but there were some reports of body aches and
That's very normal.
that kind of thing.
Obviously, when you're getting something inside and it's reacting and it's building an immunity, there has to be a response, right? So it is believed that you need 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine that are about 1 month apart, and the same goes with AstraZeneca as well, and the same goes with the Russian vaccine, the Sputnik vaccine that we are anticipating the private sector might import, and that too involves the viral vector mechanism where you use an adenovirus and everything else. But the Chinese vaccine is the conventional vaccine we've been using since ever. Like all these different diseases that we are vaccinated against always use either a live or an attenuated form of the same germ that causes a sort of antibody buildup, and it helps recognize that antibody, right? So this is a single jab vaccine, I've heard. So how is it different from the ones that require 2 jabs? Because they apparently start developing immunity almost 2 weeks after the second jab. So that's like 1 and then 1 month and then another and then 2 weeks, right? So what about this? How is this different?
You see, vaccine is also a drug, kind of drug. So there's so many drugs that you need to take once a day. Some drugs you need to take twice a day. Some you need 3 times a day. So the CanSino vaccine dose is sufficient if you take it in a single jab, while the others, they require a second jab as well.
And Sinopharm, the one that is already being administered in our government setup, how has the response been to Sinopharm? Are people coming up, or are they hesitant to take the vaccine?
No, I think there's a tremendous demand for the vaccine.
Okay.
And people ask me this question, which vaccine they should go for. And I always tell them, get the one which is available for you.
It is very important. Whatever is available, get
yeah.
it before it's too late. And even if the vaccine does not stop you from getting or acquiring the infection, it definitely plays a role in making the symptoms less severe and making it less fatal, right? So that the burden on all our hospitals, like the condition right now in our neighboring country, which is completely, out of oxygen, and you see these cremation graveyards burning and everything. So what is the situation right now in Pakistan? How many people do you think have received the Sinopharm as well as the CanSino?
I think mostly Sinopharm has been administered, and now 2 other vaccines are also available. One is Sputnik, which the government allowed import of 50,000 doses, which means a coverage of 25,000 people, and also CanSino vaccine. 60,000 have been procured by government. That covers 60,000 people and 10,000 for private sector use. And hopefully now onwards, some other brands will also be available, and the numbers, quantity of vaccines will also increase, and more people will be able to access.
So how is the
immunization.
regulation regarding this? Because you know why, when COVID started, almost everyone, including the paint guy who used to paint in my house, called me and said, "But do you need a PCR test?" And he started selling sanitizers. And this was very unfortunate because almost every shop became a lab overnight, right? So how is it regulated that vaccine will be administered by only licensed centers who know what they're doing and are doing it in a professional manner?
Yeah, as far as the actual vaccination is concerned, the government is regulating it, in the recommended manner. And you can't just get a vaccine from anywhere and start jabbing people. You need to have a license for the vaccination center. And we have healthcare authorities in all the provinces and also in Islamabad. And these authorities grant you license. You apply to them. They come and visit your facility and see if you have the equipment and the other requirements you have completed. And only then you get this license.
So people need to be really aware that if they receive a call and people saying, "Oh, I'm offering vaccine, come over and get it," they shouldn't be doing it, right?
No, I think the more concerning thing is about the testing of COVID. The regulation, I think it needs to be strengthened, because there are a lot of labs which are doing this investigation, and not all of them have the required equipment and expertise.
You're so right. And
facilities.
it said that, you cannot take a vaccine if you're currently suffering from COVID. You have to have recovered from corona or COVID, and then you can take the vaccine, right? So if you're currently having a fever or you're sick, you can't take a vaccine then. And if you've received plasma or convalescent plasma therapy, then you have to wait 90 days before you can get a vaccine. Could you tell some contraindications? For example, is it okay for pregnant women, lactating women, or children?
No, pregnant and lactating women are not advised to take this vaccine.
All right.
And anyone under the age of 18 is also not advised so far. But all the others...
What about the immunocompromised people or people on chemotherapy or suffering from cancer or other comorbid conditions?
It's important for them to actually take this vaccine, because comorbidities are a strong indication for vaccination, because they are more vulnerable. So everyone should go for it except these.
And people who are allergic to some or the other component of the vaccine, for example, if they are known allergics to egg or, for example, the other ingredients, then they should also do it in a medical setting in case they don't suffer that, or is that common?
It has to be, the vaccination center has to have medical coverage.
Right.
They have to have a doctor to deal with any kind of emergency. So that is part of the, if you don't have that facility, you don't get a license. So it has to be done under medical supervision. But as far as allergic thing is concerned, my wife got vaccinated and she was actually suffering from bronchial asthma. It was the season, and she didn't have
What
any
about this
problem.
current trend where people are posing, with their vaccine, getting a shot? I saw your picture on social media as well. So do you encourage more and more people to pose themselves with it so others get motivated to do it?
Yes, there's no harm in it, especially for, well-known people like yourself. It would give a very good message for others, and it would give them confidence to come forward, because there are some people who are apprehensive, and that's not something...
We haven't been able to even get past the polio fear till now. Imagine we're the only country where even polio vaccine is such a big controversy and issue, and with resistance over and over again. That is why our acceptance of vaccines is pretty less.
I wouldn't really say that. I wouldn't agree with you there. It's more complicated than that. But we have, have had excellent coverage of polio vaccination in the country. There are just a few pockets in the country where some political and geo-strategic issues are also involved, but we are working very effectively on that. But thanks to this, COVID pandemic, the importance of vaccination has been highlighted, and now hopefully the polio prevention efforts will also get a boost from this.
Because I remember during the time of COVID, the sensational viral video of a woman dressed up as a doctor and saying things against doctors went really viral, and people tend to believe that more. So it was very important for us to listen to you, and before we leave, please give us a message to the audience so that they know the importance of vaccine, how they should develop this herd immunity, and how we can fight the pandemic.
I think you should adopt a healthy lifestyle, practice social distancing, wear masks, and no more handshakes. we have to change our,
Norms.
social behavior.
Right.
I think handshakes are a thing of past now.
So what do we do? Like, hi.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
this? All right. So we can do the traditional adabarze or the hi or hello or whatsoever. And we refrain from handshakes for the while so that the sooner we get vaccinated, the sooner we develop this kind of herd immunity, the sooner we can get rid of this terrible pandemic. And with this, we come to the end of today's episode with a prayer to Allah Almighty to end this pandemic and save us all. Thank you for watching. Allah Hafiz. Okay.